You ever get hit with the truth in a way that feels stupidly small? Not a text. Not a kiss caught on camera. Not a dramatic hotel bill in her purse. Just a bra. In the backseat of your own car. Let me back up. My name's David. 40 years old. Project manager in a tech firm that pretends to care about mental health until the next round of layoffs. Married to Jess. Beautiful, sharp, head of HR at a major firm downtown. We met 6 years ago at a networking event. I was the guy in the corner with a beer and zero social skills. She was the one who actually laughed at my sarcastic comment about keynote speakers. 3 years of dating. 2 years of marriage. We bought a house just outside Denver. Got a rescue dog. Shared Spotify playlists. The usual. But about a year ago, things started feeling off. Late nights. Sudden team outings she never used to mention. A phone that lived face down and never out of reach. I noticed. Of course I noticed. But I also know what it looks like to be paranoid. And I didn't want to be that guy. So I kept my mouth shut. Then one Friday, I offered to take her car in for a tire rotation while she worked from home. She tossed me the keys and barely looked up. At the shop, I dropped my coffee in the back seat, bent down to grab it, and saw something pink wedged under the seatbelt anchor. A bra. Not in a bag. Not hidden. Just sitting there. It was hers. No doubt about it. She has this particular brand she likes. I know because I helped her pick it out once in Vegas. But what the hell was it doing stuffed under the back seat? I drove home like I had bricks in my chest. I didn't ask her about it. Didn't hold it up and shout. I just placed it on top of the laundry pile in the bathroom, the most quiet kind of confrontation, and waited. She saw it hours later. Didn't flinch. "Oh, I must have taken it off after Pilates," she said casually. No emotion. No curiosity. Like I was the weird one for noticing. And that, weirdly, was the moment I knew. Not when I found it. But when she didn't even try to pretend she cared that I had. You ever try to sleep next to someone you don't trust? It's like trying to fall asleep while a fire alarm beeps every 40 seconds. Not loud enough to make you get up, but just enough to drive you insane. After the bra incident, I didn't say a word. Not that night. Not the next day. She acted like everything was fine. Asked me if I could pick up oat milk and paper towels on my way back from work. And I did. Because part of me still hoped I was wrong. But my gut? It had already stopped negotiating. It started noticing things. How she took her phone to the bathroom now. How she turned away from me when texting. How she suddenly had strong opinions about privacy and respecting each other's space. Jess had always been private, but this was different. There was a wall now. And I wasn't on the other side of it. I started keeping a mental tally. Every Thursday, team drinks. Every other weekend, work retreat or leadership conference. And always the same excuse. You wouldn't enjoy it, Dave. It's all small talk and PowerPoint. One night, she left her laptop open. Not unlocked, she wasn't that sloppy. But the screen lit up when a notification pinged. "See you tonight. Can't wait." No name. Just a preview. But it didn't take Sherlock Holmes to figure it out. That night, I laid in bed staring at the ceiling while she showered. And for the first time, I felt something snap inside me. Not anger. Not heartbreak. Just stillness. Like the version of me that cared about saving us, had quietly packed up and left. The next day, I took a walk at lunch. No destination, just walking. I ended up at this old used bookstore near my office. I don't even know why I went in. But while I was there, I saw this guy in the corner, big beard, flannel shirt, reading some book on cabin building or wilderness survival or something like that. He looked peaceful. I thought, what if I just disappeared? Not in a dramatic way. No revenge. No messy blow-up. Just slip out of her world like fog in the morning. That idea wouldn't leave me alone. Over the next week, it turned into a plan. I started gathering things. Stuff she wouldn't notice missing right away. passport, clothes, hard drive with all my personal files, even my camping gear from the garage. I didn't know where I was going. I just knew I didn't want to be here when it all finally exploded. Because it would. Eventually. Cheaters slip. Lies unravel. And I didn't want to be standing in the wreckage, begging for honesty. You ever feel like your body is still doing normal life, brushing teeth, paying bills, saying, "I love you," but your soul already left the building? That was me. Still, David, the husband, but only on paper. Inside, I was already halfway gone. At some point, paranoia becomes instinct. I wasn't snooping anymore. I was surviving. I didn't want to catch her. I wanted to stop lying to myself. I'd been thinking about tracking her for weeks. Not like planting a device or hiring a PI. Just using what I had. One night, while she was in the shower, I grabbed her keys and dropped one of those tiny AirTag things into her glove compartment. Took less than 10 seconds. My hands didn't even shake. I didn't plan to check it every hour. I just wanted to know, when she said she was at work, was she really? First couple times? She was. Office building, right on schedule. My stomach unclenched just enough to start doubting myself again. Then came Thursday. She left at 6:15. Said she was meeting her team at a new rooftop bar downtown. At 6:52, the AirTag pinged her car in a residential neighborhood 20 minutes away from the bar. No restaurants. Just houses. I waited. Told myself maybe someone was giving her a ride. At 7:15, the dot didn't move. At 8:30, I drove out there. The street was quiet. Lights on in only a few houses. I parked at the far end, killed the engine, and sat in the dark. Her car was there. Right where the tracker said it was. Parked under a streetlight like nothing to hide. I waited. At 9:03, the front door of the house opened. And there she was. With him. He wasn't some stranger. It was Ben. From her office. She'd mentioned him in passing. The funny guy from finance. I remembered him from the Christmas party. Tall, smug, wearing a red turtleneck like he thought he was on a runway. They stood close at the door. Then she leaned up and kissed him. Not polite. Not hesitant. Kissed him like it was a habit. Then they both stepped back inside. I didn't cry. Didn't scream or punch the dashboard. I just sat there. There's a kind of pain that doesn't feel sharp. It feels empty. Like all the color drains out of the world. I don't know how long I stayed parked there. Eventually, I drove to a gas station, bought a bottle of bad wine, and sat in a motel 2 exits outside of town. Didn't even take my shoes off. Just drank straight from the bottle, and stared at the ceiling fan until morning. The next day at work, no one knew. I smiled. I answered emails. I made small talk about March Madness, like I wasn't shattered from the inside out. I think I even made someone laugh. That night I went home. She got back late, said they'd lost track of time. After dinner. I nodded. I didn't say anything. Didn't accuse. Didn't even blink. Because something inside me had shifted. I wasn't her husband anymore. I was a ghost playing dress-up. There's a weird power in silence. Not the kind you use to punish someone. The kind you wrap around yourself like armor, because it's all you got left. After that night, I didn't ask where she was going anymore. Didn't offer to cook. Didn't check in when she was running late. Didn't suggest date nights. I just existed next to her. Quietly. Perfectly polite. Like a guest waiting for checkout. She noticed, eventually. Asked if everything was okay. I smiled and said, "Sure." She asked if I was mad about something. I told her I was tired from work. She leaned in to kiss me once before heading out, and I just flinched. Not a big reaction. Just enough that her lips caught my cheek instead. She looked at me for a second like she wanted to say something, but didn't. Instead, she left, in heels, full makeup, perfect hair, for another client dinner. Ben's name wasn't spoken. Not even once. And that silence told me everything I needed to know. I made a plan. I wasn't gonna confront her. Wasn't gonna scream or beg or cry. I'd already seen what I needed to see. And honestly, I didn't want her lies. I didn't even want her truth. I just wanted out. So I started packing. Quietly. Strategically. I boxed up my work stuff first. Laptop, files, tech gear. Then clothes. Books. Camping gear. Every time she was working late, I loaded my car. Bit by bit. I rented a storage unit across town under a new name. Paid in cash. It felt like reverse moving day, sneaking your life out while pretending nothing's changed. Then I got lucky. My buddy Tyler, divorced, lives in the mountains, works remote, offered his old cabin for a few months. Said it needed repairs, but I could stay there if I wanted space. Space. That word hit different. So the next Friday, when she told me she had back-to-back meetings all weekend, I nodded. Said I'd be busy too. And the moment she left, I finished the job. Grabbed the last duffel bag, the AirTag I'd planted, and my keys. Didn't leave a letter. Didn't send a message. Just walked out. Funny thing is, I thought leaving would feel huge. Dramatic. Final. But it didn't. It felt quiet. Like walking away from a movie you've already seen. The cabin was rough. No Wi-Fi, dusty floors, a crooked porch swing. But it had air. Trees. Space to breathe. I spent the first 3 days sleeping, eating junk, and doing absolutely nothing productive. And for the first time in months, no fake smiles. No pretending. Just me. And the sound of wind through pine trees. The first week at the cabin, I barely spoke. Not because I didn't have anyone to talk to, though I didn't, but because my own voice felt foreign. It's weird how used you get to pretending. Pretending everything's fine. Pretending she's not lying. Pretending you're still enough for someone who's already gone. But up here, there was nothing to pretend about. It was just me. And the sound of wind hitting pine needles. And a leaky faucet in the kitchen. And the occasional bird that looked way too smug for a Tuesday morning. I started waking up at sunrise. Not because I had to, but because I could. Made coffee on a propane stove. Went for walks in old boots. Watched dust dance through sunbeams like I was living in a slow-motion documentary. It wasn't glamorous, but it was real. And real felt good. By week 2, my phone started buzzing. At first, it was just unknown numbers. Then voicemails. Then texts from mutual friends. Hey, Jess is trying to get in touch with you. Then her. Where are you? Why won't you answer? Can we talk? You just disappeared. What is happening? I didn't respond. Not because I wanted revenge, but because I had nothing left to say. She knew what she did. She knew what she chose. And she knew I saw it. That didn't stop her from trying harder. She emailed, called my office, messaged my sister, who, bless her, told Jess exactly where to shove it. And I just let it all sit there. Unread. Unanswered. Because for the first time in years, I wasn't living in reaction to her. I was living for me. Tyler came up on the 3rd weekend with beers and a toolbox. Place still smells like raccoons, he said, handing me a wrench. Let's fix that. We patched a broken window. Hung a new light on the porch. Drank cheap beer and grilled frozen burgers like it was a national holiday. At one point, Tyler looked at me and said, Dude, you look different. Lighter. I just nodded. Because I felt it too. That night, after he left, I opened my laptop. Curiosity got me. I logged into our shared cloud account, something we set up years ago for finances and groceries. She probably forgot I still had access. And there it was. Photos. Of her and Ben. Not scandalous. Not steamy. But comfortable. Smiling at some outdoor wine tasting. Leaning against him at a concert. Her in one of my old flannels, tucked under his arm like it belonged to him now. I stared at that photo for a long time. Then I hit delete. Not out of anger, but because I didn't need to see it again. She still had no idea where I was. And I plan to keep it that way. Because the man she married? He's gone. The guy brushing his teeth at a broken cabin sink now? He's not waiting for her to explain. He's already halfway home. It was a Thursday afternoon when I heard the knock. Soft. Hesitant. 3 taps. Like someone hoping nobody was home. I looked out the front window of the cabin. My stomach dropped. Jess. Standing there. Same leather jacket. Same worried eyes. Except now, they looked desperate. I didn't open the door right away. I just stared through the glass. I think she saw me, because she didn't knock again. She just stood there, arms crossed, shifting from foot to foot like a kid outside the principal's office. Finally, I opened it. Only halfway. She gave me a half smile. Hey! I didn't smile back. She glanced around the porch like she didn't expect this to be real. I wasn't sure if this was the place, she said. Tyler's girlfriend slipped and said you were up in the hills. I didn't mean to track you. I raised a hand. What do you want, Jess? She looked like she'd been rehearsing this. Like she had bullet points in her head. I just needed to see you. Just once. Please. I opened the door wider. Gestured to a bench on the porch. We sat down. She didn't speak at first. I didn't rush her. The silence stretched between us like rope about to snap. Then she whispered it. I messed up. No kidding. She went on. Said she ended it with Ben. Said she hadn't seen him in months. That after I left, everything fell apart. She couldn't sleep. Couldn't eat. That she quit her job. That HR found out about the relationship and pushed her out. She looked at me with glassy eyes and said, I thought I could handle it. That I could keep both lives. But when you vanished, I realized I didn't even want that other one. I didn't respond. Because none of that was about me. It was all about her. You hurt me, I said finally. Not just with Ben, but with the way you made me feel invisible. Disposable. She started crying. Real tears. I know. And I deserve every second of this. But please, I still love you. I never stopped. I believe she meant it. In her own broken, selfish way. But that didn't matter. Because I didn't. She reached for my hand. I let her hold it for a second. Long enough to remember how it used to feel. Then I pulled away. I'm not angry anymore, I said. But I'm not coming back. She nodded, eyes down. I thought maybe you'd still care. I looked out at the trees. I do, I said. Just not in the way you want. She left without another word. Walked back to her car. Slow, like maybe I'd stop her. I didn't. Because I'd already let her go. The day after Jess left, I woke up before sunrise. No nightmares. No fog in my chest. Just air. Cold, quiet, honest air. I made coffee, sat on the porch, and listened to the wind move through the trees. It hit me then. For the first time in years, I wasn't checking my phone. Not wondering where someone was. Not waiting for a lie. Just present. That weekend, I ran into Claire. She lived a few hills over, worked remotely for a travel site, and had a habit of jogging the same trail I used to walk when I first moved in. We passed each other a few times. Quick nods. Polite smiles. Then one day, her dog, a scrappy little thing named Murphy, came barreling toward me like I owed him money. I caught him mid-jump, turned around, and Claire was already laughing. Guess he likes you, she said. Yeah, I said. That makes one of us. She laughed again. And I realized it had been a long, long time since I heard laughter that didn't sound like a lie. Claire and I started walking together. Nothing serious. No awkward questions. Just two people who liked quiet mornings and dumb dog stories. We'd share coffee on a bench near the ridge. Talk about books. Music. Sometimes nothing at all. It felt easy. Like life stopped auditioning and just let itself be real. Jess emailed once. Not long after that morning coffee with Claire. It wasn't dramatic. No long apology. No. Let's start over. Just one sentence. I get it now. I hope you're okay. I stared at that line for a while, then archived the email. Not out of anger. Just done. One night, Claire and I watched a meteor shower from the truck bed. She wrapped herself in a blanket, leaned on my shoulder, and said, "You seem like someone who's been through hell." I smiled. "Yeah, but I made it out with both shoes on." She laughed and kissed my cheek. It wasn't fireworks. It wasn't the rush of a new obsession. It was peace. And God, I didn't realize how much I needed that. For the first time since I left, I didn't feel haunted. I felt home. Not in a house. Not in a marriage. But in myself. It had been maybe 3 months since I saw Jess on the porch. Claire and I weren't official, whatever that even means, past 30, but things felt solid. Real. We spent weekends hiking, cooking, laughing. She brought life back into spaces I'd written off. One Saturday, I drove into town to grab groceries and some oil for the generator. Small stuff. The store was busy. Kids running through aisles, a guy arguing about coupons, the usual Saturday circus. I was halfway through the produce section when I heard it. "David?" I turned, and there she was. Jess. She looked different. Less polished. Less sure. Hair pulled back in a messy ponytail. No makeup. Just jeans and a hoodie. For a split second, I almost didn't recognize her. But the way my chest tightened? Yeah. Still remembered. She gave a small smile. "Didn't expect to run into you here." "Neither did I," I said, glancing at the cart. Milk, cereal, a frozen pizza. Nothing dramatic. Just life. She looked down at it too, then back at me. "You look good." I nodded. "Thanks. You too." We stood there in that awkward silence, the kind that's full of things we're both trying not to say. Finally, she broke it. "I'm moving." "Oh. Yeah. Got a job in Oregon. Starting next month." I nodded again. No congratulations. No emotion. Just okay. She waited, maybe for something more. A reaction. A question. I didn't offer one. Instead, I said, "I hope it works out." That was it. No bitterness. No nostalgia. No invitation to memory lane. Just closure. Quiet and clean. She blinked a few times, like maybe she wasn't ready for it to be so simple. "Are you?" She started, then stopped. "Never mind." "Am I what? Happy?" I looked past her for a second. Not to avoid the question, but to be honest with myself. Then I looked back and said, "Yeah, I am." She nodded, biting her lip. "I'm glad." And then, without another word, she pushed her cart past me and disappeared into the next aisle. I stood there for a moment, letting it all wash over me. And you know what I felt? Not sadness. Not anger. Relief. It was done. For real this time. That night, Claire and I sat on the porch with a fire going in the pit and a blanket over our knees. I didn't tell her about Jess. Not because I was hiding anything, but because it didn't matter anymore. Some ghosts aren't worth naming, especially after they've stopped haunting you. Some people think healing comes like a lightning bolt. One big cry. One epiphany. One aha moment and boom, you're whole again. But the truth? It's slower than that. Quieter. It sneaks in how you sleep deeper. In how you laugh at dumb jokes again. In how you stop rehearsing that one conversation that never happened. A month after I ran into Jess, Claire brought over a new plant. Some spiky green thing that looked like it could survive a nuclear war. "His name is Gus," she said. "Why Gus?" "Because he looks like a Gus." We put Gus on the windowsill and let him soak up the sun. And I swear, that stupid plant did more to make the cabin feel like a home than any photo ever did. Claire never pried. She knew there were pieces of me that still had scars. Moments I flinched when someone said, "Trust." Times I went quiet for no reason. She didn't push. She just showed up. With muffins. With coffee. With that tired dog who somehow loved me more than I deserved. And bit by bit, I started showing up too. One Sunday I asked her, "You ever get scared that this is too easy?" She tilted her head. "Easy? Yeah. I mean, we don't fight. We don't play games. We don't pretend." She smiled. "That's not scary. That's just what happens when neither person is lying." And damn, I almost kissed her right there. We took a weekend trip down to the lake. Rented a little cabin with a dock and some creaky paddle boats. One night, sitting by the fire, Claire looked over at me. "You ever think you'll talk to her again?" I didn't even need to ask who. "No," I said. And I meant it. It's not that I hated Jess. Hate takes energy. She didn't get that anymore. I just didn't need her in my life. Not even as a memory. That night, Claire fell asleep on my shoulder, wrapped in a flannel blanket, the fire crackling low. And I realized, I didn't want my old life back. I didn't want revenge. Or closure. Or the past. I just wanted this. Simple. Quiet. Real. People always want to know how it ends. Did you get back together? Did she apologize? Did you forgive her? As if life is some neatly wrapped episode with a moral lesson and a romantic twist at the end. But here's the truth. There was no big moment. No rain-soaked hug in the driveway. No tearful reunion under fairy lights. Just life moving on. Jess eventually stopped emailing. I guess even regret has an expiration date. The last one just said, "I hope you're happy. For real." And you know what? I was. Not jump for joy, Hollywood ending happy. But settled. Steady. The kind of happy that lets you exhale without realizing you've been holding your breath for years. Claire and I never defined anything with labels. We just kept showing up for each other. She helped me repaint the cabin one weekend. I helped her build shelves for her books. Sometimes we just sat in silence, the good kind. No tension. No performance. Just the sound of trust rebuilding itself. A few months back, we went hiking near the ridge. She tripped on a root, landed hard on her side. I reached for her hand. She squeezed mine, laughed, and said, "Well, if this is how I die, at least the view's good." We both cracked up. Later that night, while icing her ankle, she looked at me and said, "You know, I used to think love was supposed to be wild. Complicated. Dramatic." I nodded. "Same." She leaned her head on my shoulder. "I think we were wrong." She was right. Love shouldn't feel like a game you're always losing. It should feel like this. Like Gus the plant surviving another cold night. Like the coffee always being strong, even when the day isn't. Like someone remembering your favorite cereal without being asked. I never told my full story to Claire. Not every ugly detail. She never asked for it. And I didn't need to explain who I used to be. Because the man sitting across from her now? He's enough. So yeah. That's the story. A man lost his wife. Lost his house. Lost the version of his life he thought would last forever. But he gained something else. Peace. The quiet, unsexy kind that doesn't make for viral videos or movie scripts. But it's mine. And I wouldn't trade it for anything. If you made it this far, thanks for sticking around. And if you're where I was, stop doubting broken. Just know, there's a trail out of that place. It's not quick. It's not easy. But it's there. And when you finally step onto it, it feels damn good to walk away.